Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to the Chupacabra Tutorials channel. I'm your host Larry, and today we're going to talk about how to slay Lynels, because their parts are very useful in making some of the most overpowered weapons inside of Tears of the Kingdom. Now the simple answer is the same way that you take down nearly every mob inside of Tears of the Kingdom by striking their weak spot still holds true today. You shoot them in the face, it stuns them, and then you can hop on their back and get a bunch of free shots in without them doing any damage to you. And you can also smack them using your weapon. The choice is really yours. It's not terribly complicated, and even I can kind of derpily, badly manage it, especially if you make extra healing food. Now, what I usually do to make slaying these types of bosses particularly easy is I use Keese Eyes, which turn your arrows into homing missiles. It's very convenient, and it does the trick 99.9% of the time. But for whatever reason, I cannot reliably get it to work when it comes to slaying Lynels. I shoot the arrow, it doesn't nick them in the face, so I just end up smacking them the old-fashioned way after dodging their attacks, which does work. You can get some pretty solid flurry of blows, attacks in there by dodging them, and that will take care of the vast majority of Lynels, no matter how tough they are. The only difference is some of them have armor, and if you do run into the ones with armor, you're going to need to smack them with some bombs. So I'm fighting a silver Lynel on the surface, one of the white-maned Lynels. This one doesn't have any armor, and I'm going to take it on by attempting to smack it in the face using some Keese Eyes. And initially it does work. It works pretty nicely. He gets stunned, and then I can jump on his back, and I can smack him quite a few times using my Lynel weapons, and it's a good idea to have plenty of really strong weapons, especially bows, on hand when you fight this. You'll also want to be careful not to get schmooked in the face by their attacks, because they have a sword, and it hurts a lot. They also have a bow, so if you try to like hide or get into a weird spot and shoot down at them, they will just do a rain of arrows. So just be careful you don't get somewhere where they can't attack you. Honestly, the least dangerous thing that they can do is try to fight you using a sword and a board, because most of their attacks are pretty easy to avoid. They got a flamethrower attack, and they like to charge you and try to stab you with their sword. Pretty simple and straightforward to avoid. And then occasionally you can just aim at their face as they charge you, stun them, and then hop on their back and get quite a few free blows in. These guys are literally all over the place as far as, you know, where to fight them. They're in the depths and they're on the surface. The most annoying version of them are the ones that come with an extra health bar worth of armor. Those ones you can't stun until you have gotten rid of their armor. And the best bet to get rid of that is to hit them with a bow that has multiple volleys of arrows. And then you can then knock off all of their armor and then stun them. I actually found that the best thing to do when I'm fighting them, like I don't actually end up using a lot of the bomb flowers. I wait till they've staggered themselves by doing a big scary attack, and then I smack them using one of my other weaker Lynel mace weapons, which does the trick pretty nicely. My personal opinion about these characters is, while they are nice to make different weapons out of their horns, because they have these horns that allow you to make like ninja katanas and samurai swords, the best thing that you can get from them is actually their multi-shot bows, which is what makes the Lynel one of the most obnoxious enemies to fight at range. Then once you've done a fair amount of damage to them, so you get them knocked down, they drop a few different items, some of which you actually need quite a bit of in order to upgrade your weapons, which is why I've been farming them. And they drop their different horns, which allow you to make maces and blades. These are the silver Lynel saber, mace, and blade parts. They also drop their guts, their hooves, some arrows, and then the more important, the multi-shot arrow, bow and arrow setup that allows you to do a whole bunch of extra damage and makes things a lot more convenient when you're doing combat, because more arrows means more damage, especially in monsters that have a weak point that has its own health bar before you can knock them out. So I hope you found that helpful. I'm not the best Lynel Slayer, I'm going to be honest right now. I'm kind of derpy compared to the other mobs that I take down like within a few seconds. But with extra health food, you don't necessarily have to be particularly good at fighting every mob that you encounter. So that'd be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host, Larry. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Bye, everybody, and have a good one.